Good day, Lords and Ladies, and welcome back to WilderMyth with me, Cornish-knight. As I said, there's been a new release, a new story added, so we're going to dive back in at some point and check it out. And I thought this would be a good time. I'm having issues with recording Crusader Kings because of the loss of frame rate for some reason. I don't know why. It seems to drop extremely low on higher speeds in the game, and makes the game very juddery. And I haven't found a way of really solving that as of yet. So I'm going to do some more tests. In the meantime, as I'm testing, I am going to bring back WilderMyth, which is a game I love a lot. For those of you who don't know what this is basically a tabletop Dungeons and Dragons-like game. That's the best way to describe it. You have 2D tokens that cardboard cutout tokens that you move around the board. They develop as characters. It's a very enjoyable game. And with the next expansion out, I thought the next major story arc out, I thought we'd dive back in. Also, these are all characters that we have played in previous games, and there's a lot of things happen to them. It's very interesting, but I won't go into any more now. Let us dive into this. New story. Eluna and the Moth. Eluna and the Moth. An old book and a young argument lead two siblings into the wilderness, and amid the bones of a mythical civilization they embark on a moonstruck journey through tragedy and time, encountering a mysterious wastrel in the woods and bearing witness to the rise of a luminous queen. A 5-chapter campaign with Thrax as the main threat, which are like the bug insect people. They are the 4th faction in the game so far. The previous ones have been the Gorgon faction, Mufaki faction, which is basically robots, deep cultists, and Eluna and the Moth. I haven't read much about this particularly because I didn't want to spoil it for myself, but from what I've been told from their news posts and the like, this is a much more condensed story than the other ones. I think they said they designed it so that your starting characters can get to the end of it. Because what can happen in a lot of the other stories is that your characters, especially if they start slightly older, retire because of old age affecting them. And you have to have newer characters. This story is designed so that you can have younger characters basically stay all the way to the end without any issue. But let's dive right in. Let's see. The enemy is the Fralax, which are like the insects in this game. We are going to go adventure mode, which is the standard. They've actually changed the storyteller. That was one of the things I found. It's a shame. When you used to do this, the storyteller, the difficulty was set to different authors, and by picking a different author, you had a different experience. So you had, for example, Tolkien. You had Rowling, you had J.R. Martin for one of the harder difficulties, and I liked that. That was very, very interesting. It's a shame to see it. They've sort of taken it out. It's a shame. Yes, that's unfortunate. We'll set everything to average and adventurer mode, which is the standard. We can implant mods. For example, you could put in like some of the mods I do have, which is Love is in the Air and Scourge of Bandits, which just basically add more romance options and like retiles some of the enemies in the game to make them look like bandits, because there's not really that many human opponents in the game, if any. These are sort of affect scores and various bits and pieces, so there's nothing to be worried about. I won't turn any of those on. So let's take that. Right, our starting party. Oh, we're getting a party of 4 right off the bat. Let's see what we have, because it's slightly different since the last time I played it. So, Future Mystic Warrior. So these are the 2 siblings from the story, I take it. And these are the 2 returning home and the world and the Wild Hill Painter. So I think these are all involved in the story. Advanced, start calamities. Start calamities make the game hard. The recommendation is based on difficulty level on which legacy heroes you are starting with. we can go for recommendation, which is basically what they recommend. Okay. So basically, if you choose them, you can change the character statistics, you can change personality and various bits and pieces, sibling, like not all the stuff. You can't change the gear or anything, but it's basically like the stats, how old they are, the movement, recovery, how much health they recover in how many days, when retirement age, like he's going to retire at 49, so we've got 20 years with him. Aspects, like enduring aspects, he's alive, he's a farmer, he's a dreamer, which will give us particular plot hooks depending on various bits and pieces of his personality, and all that kind of stuff. So we could change, like for example, at the moment he's a greedy peacemaker, and she's a poetic learner. So let's just randomize. Okay, so she's going to be. That's interesting. So she's going. The two starter ones are going to be mystics right off the bat. That is interesting. Yeah, so for example, she's a cowardly poet, so her two highest scores are being a poet and being coward. These are the things that will turn up in the stories that give you options. So for example, let's have Goofy Intellectual for the older sibling. Yeah, compassionate sneaky poet, compassionate coward, poetically greed wagon, decisive peacemaker. Let's just like randomly pick some. Decisive hothead. Right, here we go with the hothead. And poetic loner is the younger sibling. And these two are the warriors. Now, we could pick these two. We could pick from, for example, if we wanted to pick from our legacy. We could pick someone that we've already had in the campaign, from an early campaign. So we could pick Kingmund, which is one of the main characters we played a lot with. We could play Harpen Hill, who is a local legend. We could just like pick someone else completely. It has to be a warrior though. Interesting. We could go with her. Yarnchar. She's only a folk hero, level 1 folk hero. She's a folk hero. He's a favoured adventurer and she's a local legend. Yeah, fine. We'll go with Harpen Mill. So let's see what we can get for her, because she starts with traits, so we could turn these off and choose. So we could get her Vengeance, heightened senses allow her to perform up to 2 reaction strikes per turn. That's very nice. Tinkerer once per combat, a swift action moves to all armor. Very nice. Battle Dance, melee attacks only cost down 1 action. Long reach, which increases all the range of attacks and abilities. So these are very nice. If we're going to take her, we could take Vigilance, which means she gets more up to 2 reaction strikes. They've tweaked this, which was used to have unlimited reaction strikes, and it was very powerful. But let's take Vigilance on long reach and recruit her, and let's pick someone else from the legacy. This is going to be our ranger characters. So who do we want to have? We've got a whole bunch of rangers. Rangers are actually really good in this game. But who do we want to basically power up? She's quite cool. L'Oreal. Very nice to have a rogue kind of build. We could go with Blackway. Blackway would be nice. Have him as a dedicated rogue with Ember Arrows. When standing in by a blaze, ranged attacks have +1 damage, +1 spread, and start fires. Fire can't spread onto him. And he gets +1 armor. That's always nice. We could go with Ash. She's got lots of lovely traits. Archery. I think I'm going to go with her. She has a crystal for an eye as well from an earlier encounter. A lot of people carry over injuries and stuff from previous adventures. Because like for her, for example, she got an eye infection. Well, she got a gem shoved into her eye, and then towards the end of the story, she had her leg chopped off. As a result, the crystal grew her a new leg. See, look, gem eye. Gem leg makes her slightly slower but increases her block chance. She is Ododo, so she will retire at 68. But yeah, let's go with her. These two, all female party. Excellent. They recommend to have 6 calamities, probably to do with the fact that we've got a rather powerful bunch of legacy characters that we can bring in, but that's fine. So that's all female party. Let's go. They have. Here we go. Okay, they're already putting calamities out on the board. Normally, calamities are things that happen every so often in the world to give enemies boosts and to allow new enemy types to appear. So I haven't played this in a while. They have seemed to have redone the UI for a lot of the stuff that these faction tokens weren't quite like this the last time I was here. So, okay, the monster cards that they've got these guys, so more veterancy and more damage. So that's not great for the for these monsters, for these basically abyssal creatures. They get a new kind of monster, which are basically the boar people, and extra armor on these guys. For the robots, they get those guys, and for these guys, which are the Frusk, which is basically the insectoids that we have to worry about in this story, they get +2 health straight off the bat. Ouch, that is unpleasant. All you bring, all you chase. Memories and dreams of those lightless gleam, but our eyes seek unfinding. They take us from the tables and summon us home, warmly felt and ever fading. A bird lands upon a post as someone walks by. A prodigal child of Bowerblade returns a grown woman. She comes quiet under familiar trees as the afternoon fades. Oh, how I hate you, Mucktown, Ruttown, Rattown. Dane has no plan to stay. As he steps into something disgusting. She seeks a certain book from the famed Bowerblade library, one she found before and never long forgets, and never long forgets. Somehow, I can hear your eyebrow raise, says Glimel in the library. See, if you can press here, you can see their character sheets. Excellent. There's been a lot of changes. Glimel and Ifra sisters. It's pretty loud. Both possess the mystical gift. This book. Insane. Neither of them know it yet. Fine, so me. Drawings of nightmares drawings of nightmare beings haunt every page. Etheria and Glimith flip through it. Writings, Koren, what is it called? Dread Compendium. This is just sitting on a shelf. Yeah, tucked away back here in the dark. I kind of want to see one of these things for real. Big old dragon bug. Everyone run. You're an idiot. This mantis guy would slice you. And no search necessary. Looks like they found it for me. Noticing the newcomer, Ephria snaps the cover close. Dane Harpenmill? Is that Ephria Prickle? Have I been gone that long? Folks used to call you Cricket. Shut up. No, they didn't. Well, listen. Oh, did you ever meet your little sister? My little sister? I'm Glem Tallbear. Yeah, don't remember. I need that, sorry. Need what? She snatches the book out from the pair. Dane takes the book from Epheria's weak hands and walks out. Character sheet. You can choose. Let's see one of our decisions. Should have seen that coming. Bitter feelings take root. Must have had a reason. There's sorrow in how she walks. A natural understanding begins to develop. She was strange. A flicker of longing heats Glimmer's chest. So, let's go with a bitter feeling takes root, because no one likes to have a book snatched out of their hand without explanation. Skipping any further reunions, Dane leaves Bower Blade in the hour she returned. Dame Halfmill's not scoring on me. We're going after her. Fine. Lead on. Young, you're warned that everyone might be anyone. Someday that all your being and all your chase would choose your mapless way. The sun's already low when they embark. Right. So we need to follow Dane. We don't know where she is. So this is the world map. Nice and expanded. And you basically, the simplest way to do it is that you click on where you want to go. You can press Scout, this button here, and you can assign who you want to take with you. You can have up to 5 people. Your parties can be bigger, and the world does not move until you start moving. Once the world starts moving, the days start to skip by. So we've been here 4 days, 5 days. So it's basically taken us 2 weeks to get to here, and we're starting to scout. And it would take you time to scout. There we go. Obscurity is not a measure of quality. These stories were drafted in trails, scribbled on landforms in a lettering of dust prints, crushed clove, and the blood I left on briars, says the sister. Each moth-bloated figure traced in Moon's hand. These stories of mine I transcribed moonlight, but they were invented by my feet. I think Noble Sam mistrusted the way people idolized her. The first evening comes, distant hills grow low, bluish beards. So long bluish beards. Grit in my eye, rock in my shoes. That's road life, maybe. I kind of like it. How far behind would you guess we are? Probably close. How much faster could someone conceivably go? They exchanged looks in the firelight. Yeah, some of the animations have definitely been updated. I wonder, Dane. She was a teenager when she left. Maybe 13. How old were you? No idea. And then, so now, what brought her back? They eventually lie down to sleep. But sleep evasive on the naked ground, the dew chills their skinny limbs, they stare at the dawn. My neck feels roped to my shoulders, maybe as a muscle warms up. The going only gets steeper and further from anywhere they've been. Isn't it nice and quiet, except for us? It didn't take long for Dane to realise she was being followed. She drives a harder pace. But the sister's tall bear proves persistent. Spirited in their pursuit, if not particularly wise. The 8th day draws grey, and they enter the ruins at noon. Stone walls, flailed at by wind and years, stand stubborn where they were founded. One of the last unburied skeletons of old Kior. This is Eldstone, has to be. I remember you wanted to come here back before. We hiked a long way. At least it's something to see. I doubt we'll catch Dane at this point, right? Should we think about heading home? See those metal points on the highest pillars? I've read that they were for trapping lightning. Koren sorcerers, they harnessed it somehow. Think we'll get a storm? Hey, Glimmail. We used to worry about you, Mum and me. You'd read anything Koren, claim to see Koren ghosts, sunned other kids. You remember that? Yeah, I was obsessed. Well, ever learn about this place? I mean, like, what wrecked it? Well, Eldstone was a whole settlement. They know how you hear about the old castles, knights, lords and all. Well, ever learned about... Sorry. I'll rephrase that, sorry, I got lost. Oh well, Eldstone was a whole settlement. They think, you know how you hear about the old castles, knights, lords and all? A lot of that's cure, I guess, beyond the traditional stuff. What I remember, what I read, and I did read everything I could find, they were people like us, but they knew secrets that have long since been lost. Karen life remains in most ways a mystery. They built great halls, keeps, wrote epics, charted the stars, made things, beautiful things. Many of their stories survive and get put into our language, but a lot of the original meanings are lost. Stories, songs, dreams, they celebrated these things, but they feared, how do I explain it? It's like they believed deeply in the power of imagination. Their poems that skirt and outline some dreadful ideal, a threat. I don't know, but it's assumed they made an awful enemy. And now we have ruins. From the darkness something watches. Guess the lesson is, however grand your accomplishment, you better keep your edge. You'll have to fight someday if you want to survive. Mum said we supposedly have a Koren bloodline. Pretty sure she was just stroking my imagination, but the air split shrilly open. Scree! From cluttering places a creature skitters that, unlike anything they've seen, twin faces leer. The future forks down to horrible throats. Startled, let's see. Here's our choices. Startled, Glenn bends for a fallen branch. Aoife takes up a soup spoon. Reacting, Glenn draws a trusted spoon. Ethel grabs an old hard branch. Yeah, I'm gonna go with probably just so she's gonna get a spoon and she's gonna get a tree branch. Let's go with that. In that moment, a dormant power in their blood awakens. Here we go. So these are the enemies that are on the field. 3 Frusks. That's not great since they're all gonna have extra health. And we get to level our character. She's a greenhorn mystic. A mystic, Ifra has acquired a knack for infusing her spirit. She's basically a mage. So she is Ignite. Active is an active ability. Ifra targets flammable debris, pulling motes of heat out of the air and gathering them into a single point to create an infusing blaze. Interesting. Myth Weaver, advanced infusions for books and textiles. Interfusion status grants +1 potency, which is extra damage. Interfusion garb has a chance of reflecting damage. That's interesting. So if she has like magical clothing, we have a chance to reflect damage, and she can do abilities with books and the like. Or she's open-minded, which is a passive ability. Aoife can infuse with one additional target. So she basically additional infusions 1 + 1, which is what she has. 1 + 1/3 potency. So what's her current potency? It's 2. So basically she. So as it stands right now, you can do normally 2 infusions, standard. Well, that's how it was the last time I played. So she'd get basically, let's see, and it depends if they round up or round down with the percentages. So she's either going to get 3 or she's going to get 4. Ignite is interesting, but it's not practical. It's not. Maybe fire can be useful. Let's take Ignite for her, but this does do interesting thing with books. But let's grab Ignite for her, and the younger sister can get either Mythweaver, Elementalist, or Archers. Archers bonds with the earth and summons forth seedlings and slit of wondrous tree that pins surrounding enemies. Interesting. She's an elementalist for good infusion for liquids, metals, and wood. Infusion fires do not burn out. So she basically has more for elemental stuff, and then we can have Mistweaver for books. Let's go with Archers, because I haven't done that before. Pinning is nice. Pinning keeps enemies in place, can move, and their defenses are lowered. Yeah, let's grab that. Okay. Yeah, so they have redone the UI a bit. This is seemingly a bit different from the last time I had a look at it. So here's our exit. Oh no, that's not the exit. That's where more enemies are going to come in. And Dane is here. Kill all the enemies. More fractures are coming. Okay. So we could do this to pin a foe, which is this one, to pin him. We can do an infusion. You have 2 actions a turn, which are indicated by the little triangles here. She's a level 1 character. She has no armor, as shown by the blue bar, and she has 7 points of health. So let's infuse with this tree sapling, which is infused. And we can do Wild Grasp, which is the ability that she has with this infused object. Just remember that if you attack, you use up your movement. Because your movement ends your turn unless you have an ability like we could have picked up for her, which basically just takes 1 action. Let's do Wilder Grasp to basically grab it. It's stuck and dragged in. So we could do Ignition for... We could set something on fire. Let's set that on fire. And then we can capture the blaze. And yeah, let's do that. And let's shoot this one. It has warded against magical damage. It wasn't as damaging, but we are... And our character is here. And here's Dane. Dane charging in. Slash it with your sword, Dane. Decapitates it in 1 blow. Excellent. Creature's turn. So he's got to turn up here. She managed to block it. She did take 3 damage from that got through her armor, unfortunately. And more foes are on the field. Okay. Come on, Lash. You can do something about this. Get here. Let's do Arch, which pins that in place so it can't move. And yeah, let's get here for a bonus to their defense. We'll do Ignite. Yeah, it takes all our actions. Unfortunate. We can still attack these guys, so let's pod around here. Finish this one off. She's taking more damage, her armor's getting shredded. Oh dear, this is actually a pretty nasty fight. And more foes are turning up. Okay. How are we going to basically do with this? Fire Leash. Nothing's in range. We could infuse tree, infuse the rock. That might be useful. Yeah, let's infuse the rock. We'll go Discus. We could hit some terrain, but it's more likely just to hit this. Excellent. So that's the older sister done. Let's do Splinter Blast on this guy. Shred his armor and kill him off. Let's finish this one down with another melee attack. Dodge it. A Frusk. An evolved one. Okay, so this is the big boy has turned up. So let's deal with him. We'll go Tree Arch to basically pin it. We'll do Discus to smash through it. She's down already. Collapses. The battle's taken its toll. She loses 2 health for the remainder of this game. I cannot win this alone. I have to fall back. Man, that's unfortunate. Defeat. Despite your sacrifice, the Battle of Lorcray ended in defeat. Okay. That was unfortunate. I did not expect that, folks. Yeah. I don't know how like you were supposed to much differently, to be honest. In certain, yeah, that's actually a really hard starting scenario. Yeah, we'll give another crack at that. But that's for next time, folks. I've been Cornish-knight. This has been WilderMyth, and we'll come back to this. Well, next time, Thursday, and have another shot at trying to get past the first battle, because that's a lot harder than it seems. I see you all again next time, folks. Goodbye.